Back in the beginning of 2001, I revisited Empire at War, the only Star Wars real-time strategy game that I've covered so far. The way it does resource management is very different to most RTS games. In the end, it made it easy. When you can take an overwhelming force and obliterate any opposition, it doesn't really make for super interesting battles. Empire at War was released in early 2006, and late 2006 saw the release of Forces of Corruption, which is the expansion to Empire at War. The base game was still the same, and a new mechanic was introduced called Corruption, along with main character Tiber Zahn and his criminal organisation, the Zahn Consortium. I don't really remember much difference between the base game and the expansion, other than the new mechanic. I do remember enjoying the game, but I also remember enjoying Empire at War all those years ago. My Star Wars playtime experience wasn't the best for it, really. Will Forces of Corruption be the same, or will it live up to its memory? I still have my PC copy of the game, and with a little help from PC Gaming Wiki, got it up running pretty easily. Let's get into the game. Empire at War Forces of Corruption starts shortly before the end of A New Hope. Head of the Zahn Consortium, Tiber Zahn is a prisoner on Kessel, having been sent there by Jabba the Hutt for attempting to steal a Sith artifact. Zahn's associate, Uri Fenn, shows up to rescue him, and the two set about re-establishing the Zahn Consortium. After the destruction of the first Death Star, Zahn heads to Yavin 4 and learns of plans for a new type of Super Star Destroyer. He sets in motion plans to acquire them. Before he can enact those plans, Jabba renews their conflict, which Zahn has to do something about. After taking the worlds of Salakami and Hypori, he secures the services of bounty hunter Bossk and eventually negotiates a truce with Jabba. That allows him time to focus on his main goal. Returning his focus to the recovered Sith artifact, Zahn travels to Dathomir, a planet of the Force witches known as Night Sisters, seeking someone who can unlock its secrets. After freeing them, Zahn gains the services of the Night Sisters Silri. In trying to find an Imperial contact that can help them get the artifact, they are contacted by Prince Xizor, head of the Black Sun criminal syndicate. He offers them a deal. He'll put them in touch with an Imperial that can help Zahn if Zahn steals some Tabana gas in an effort to discredit Darth Vader. Those who have played Shadows of the Empire are aware of the rivalry between Xizor and Vader, with this mission being another move in their game. Zahn is aware of this though, and leaves evidence to implicate the Black Sun. But before he can sell the artifact, Zahn is ambushed by Grand Admiral Thrawn. Bossk steals the artifact and defects to the Empire. Zahn is one step ahead of them though, as he's placed a tracker on the artifact so he can find where the Emperor's personal data center is. Zahn, Fenn and Silri raid it and retrieve the artifact, along with access codes to the Emperor's flagship, the new Super Star Destroyer called the Eclipse. After the destruction of the second Death Star and the death of the Emperor, Zahn makes his move. Heading to Kuwait where the Eclipse is docked, Zahn allies with the Rebel Alliance but betrays them when he takes control of the Eclipse. Using the vessel's massive computers, he locates the Emperor's vaults before defeating both the Rebel and Imperial forces, escaping without the Eclipse. He reasons that a ship that big would only put a target on his back. The closing cutscene shows Zahn's victory and Silri using the Sith artifact to locate a Sith army frozen in carbonite. Being an expansion to Empire at War, the basics of Forces of Corruption are the same. Resource generation is done on an overworld map, credits are earned based on the number of planets you control, and this is used to build space stations above a planet or buildings on a planet to produce various different units. Different planets have different number of buildings and space stations you can build, determining what sorts of units you can have. Certain planets also give bonuses to construction, reducing the cost of particular units. You'd know all this from the original Empire at War though. Where Forces of Corruption differs is by introducing the corruption mechanic. Special units can infiltrate enemy-controlled planets, allowing you to see information about the planet, as well as move your forces through that planet without harassment. You can still capture planets by sending forces to take it over, and you can still auto-resolve battles if a planet isn't part of a story mission. By corrupting the planet first, you can destroy buildings and gain access to new units before invading. This gives you so many options on how you can progress through the game's campaign. It still suffers from the biggest issue that Empire at War did though. With resource generation done on the overworld instead of during missions, you can quickly build up a massive war chest. There's no real challenge to the game when you can build up a massive force, invade a planet using auto-resolve, then rebuild the units that you've lost. That said, this game has a lot of missions with your hero type units. You take Zaan, Fen and Silri into battle a lot, and if you're not careful you can lose them and fail the mission. I had this happen a lot on the Dathomir mission. You need to take Zaan and Fen to free Silri and then protect them all through the rest of the mission. But no matter how far back I kept them, they always seemed to die. A lot. It got super frustrating. I must have spent more than an hour trying to finish this mission, all because Zaan, Fen and Silri kept dying. The campaign is fairly short though. Even with the problems I had on Dathomir, I was done in about 5 hours. Empire at War Forces of Corruption is a nice little add-on to the original Empire at War campaign. Its length means it never overstays its welcome. Sure, it has the same issues as the base game, such as resource generation being on the overworld, but the corruption mechanic is fun, and you'll find yourself wanting to use it even if auto-resolving battles means you can take over the map fairly easily. With all that in mind, I give Empire at War Forces of Corruption my Star Wars playtime rating of 1 more pass. Thank you so much for watching this video. I've enjoyed putting it together and I really hope you've enjoyed watching it. If you have, don't forget to like, comment and subscribe so you can see more of my content and give me advice on what games you want to see me play next. But thank you and we'll see you next time.